Hello, yes, this is your girl, Queen of Commentary, and we are back with another video. I came across this story of Lake Lanier, and I thought it was cool, or it would be cool, for me to talk about it, all right? But before we get into it, you know what to do. Thumbs up this video, subscribe if you have not already, leave us a comment, and cut your notifications on. All right, so if you've ever heard of the story of Lake Lanier, let me know in the comments. I have a few times, but I said, you know what, let me just bring it to my peeps on this channel. All right, so Lake Lanier is a large reservoir in Georgia that was created in the 1950s by flooding a valley that contained several towns, farms, and cemeteries. The lake is popular for recreation, but it also has a dark and tragic history. Many people have died or gone missing in the lake, and some believe that it is haunted by the ghost of those who were displaced or buried there. Okay? One of the most famous ghost stories about Lake Lanier is the legend of the Lady of Imagine water just encompassing a whole town. I mean, stores, cemeteries, churches, markets, it didn't matter. They just put a whole bunch of water on top of a town. Yeah, basically that's what happened. All right. There's even 60-foot trees, under this lake. But the legend of the Lady of the Lake, this story involves two young women, Delia Mae Parker Young and Susie Roberts. They were friends and co-workers at a textile mill in Gainesville. On April 16th, 1958, they attended a dance at the Three Gables in Dawnsville, but they decided to leave early. They drove away in a 1954 Ford sedan, but they never made it home. According to witnesses, they stopped at a gas station on Dawnsonville Highway and left without paying for their gas. They then sped off toward the bridge that crossed the lake. As they approached the bridge, they lost control of their car and crashed into the railing. The car plunged into the water and disappeared. The authorities searched for the car and the women, but they could not find any trace of them. The only clue they had was a skid mark on the bridge and a piece of chrome from the car. The case remained unsolved for over 3 decades. That's 30 years. In 1990, a construction crew was working on the bridge when they discovered a car submerged in the lake. They pulled it out and found a skeleton inside. The skeleton was wearing a blue dress, which matched the description of Delia's outfit on the night of her disappearance. The authorities identified the remains as Delia's using dental records. They also found Susie's purse in the car, but her body was never found. Some people say that Delia's ghost still haunts the lake, looking for her friend trying to hitchhike. They call her the Lady of the Lake and claim that she appears as a woman in a blue dress who walks along the road or floats on the water. Some drivers have reported seeing her on their rearview mirrors or hearing her voice asking for help. Some boaters have reported seeing her face under the surface or feeling her hands grabbing them. The legend of the Lady of the Lake, I'm sorry guys, I had to say that again. That's a tongue twister. It's one of many stories that surround Lake Lanier. But it's not the only one. The lake has been the site of over 200 deaths since '94 and many more injuries and disappearances. Some of these incidents are caused by natural factors such as weather, currents, or debris, but others seem to have no logical explanation. Some people believe that the lake is cursed or haunted by other spirits who drown swimmers, sink boats, and cause accidents. What you guys think about that? You know, would you swim there? Would you swim at Lake Lanier? Let me know. I know personally, I don't like lakes, okay? I don't like things like that. That's just not my judge, if you will. Yeah. Now, there's another story, the catfish. Some fishermen claim that there are giant catfish in the lake, as big as cars or even buses. They say that these catfish feed on the corpses and debris at the bottom of the lake and sometimes attack divers or boats. Some even say that they have seen human faces or limbs on the catfish mouths or bodies. The arms. Some swimmers report feeling mysterious arms grabbing them from below and pulling them down. They say that these arms belong to the deceased people who are trapped in the lake, or the trees and plants that have grown around them. Some swimmers manage to escape, but others are not so lucky. These are just some of the stories that circulate about Lake Lanier, but there are many more. The lake has been the site of over 200, I gotta say this again, deaths, okay? It's a lot. So, yeah, what do you guys think about this? Okay, let me tell you some more about this lake, okay? So before this was a lake, of course it was a town, okay? And we're going to get into it a little bit. Just give me a sec. Okay, so it's a Georgia landmark, but before it became part of the state's landscape, there was the town called Oscarville. It was formed in the late 1800s during the Reconstruction era. Georgia history teacher Lisa Crosby in Oscarville was thriving. Okay, it was a thriving Black community full of carpenters, blacksmiths, bricklayers, and farmers. They had a miraculous farming growth here, while the rest of the state was really struggling. Okay, that's basically what the lady said who knows about this town. Okay, that was the case until 1912 when May Crow, a 19-year-old Caucasian woman, was found deceased in the woods near Oscarville. Okay, typically the answer to Caucasian girls being mistreated was to go to the African American communities and start blaming them. When nightfall came, terror began to reign over Oscarville. Crosby said, okay, mobs came together called night riders, and they drove to the African American community. Okay, they captured them during the night, and they were wakened by fires. The church was the centerfold of the community, so anytime something happened, they would go to the church and basically mistreat them, okay? And after the deconstruction in the late 50s, okay, the Beaufort Dam was built and Lake Lanier was formed, covering up Oscarville and swallowing most of its history. Many people passed away during the attack trying to get to Gainesville. Okay, so that's just a little bit of what happened. Okay, so basically envision that this town of, what we would call today Black excellence, and, had everything kind of like within the community, so they didn't have to go outside of the community. And so things just happened, and, so instead of, correcting it properly, they basically threw water on top of it. And so that's how all of this folklore came about, that is haunted and, and people, just regular people like you and me, go there and swim and they feel, hands grabbing them and people drowning and hearing voices and things like that, So I just thought that I'd bring this story to you, And let me know what you guys think. If anybody has any more information on this, let us know in the comments. I don't mind people adding to the story. It's okay. I don't know everything. I'm kind of like a quick person. As soon as I come across stuff, I try to bring it to you guys. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this story, and I'll see you next